I'm about to give birth, the alien woman screamed when she saw a human passing by. Under Verdantia's twin suns, the violet leaves shimmered like fractured amethysts, catching the golden rays and casting playful shadows across the forest floor. Evan Cross, grizzled and broad-shouldered in his worn engineer's vest, hunched over the sensor panel in his hillside bunker. A scarred holdout from colonial wars long faded into legend. The air inside hummed with the low thrum of old tech, circuits whispering secrets of stability amid the wild. He ran a hand over his scarred cheek, the faint line a memento from a blast that had taken more than skin. Readings held steady, no blips on the grid, just the planet's untamed rhythm pulsing through the walls. A sharp clatter pierced the calm, echoing from beyond the bunker's reinforced door. Evan froze, instincts kicking in like muscle memory. He strapped on his multi-tool bracer, the engraved EC&E, catching a glint of light, and stepped out into the warm haze. The forest breathed around him, violet trunks twisting upward, leaves rustling in a gentle breeze that carried the scent of damp earth in sweet sap. There, in a small clearing, a figure toiled, a cyanite woman, her pale blue skin glistening with effort, silver braids swaying as she heaved rough stones into a makeshift wall. Lyra, pregnant and defiant, moved with labored precision, her woven plant fiber tunic stretched taut over her belly, tools clinking on her belt as she built her crude shelter against the encroaching wild. Evan edged closer, boots sinking soft into the mossy ground. Lyra whirled at the sound, blade whipping out in a flash, its edge catching the sun's glare. Her eyes narrowed, fierce and unyielding. He halted, raising empty hands slow. "Whoa, easy there. Not looking for a fight. That slab looks heavy. Mind if I lend a hand?" His voice rolled low and steady, forged in the heat of old battlefields, carrying that quiet authority that disarmed more than it demanded. She eyed him a beat longer, blade hovering, then lowered it with a curt nod. They fell into work without words, the rhythm building like a shared pulse. Stones grinding together, dust puffing up in clouds that stuck to sweat-slick skin. Evan's calloused fingers slotted pieces with engineer's ease, calculating angles on the fly, while Lyra's analytical grace ensured each fit locked tight. A heavy lift brought them close, breaths mingling, their eyes met over a cracked cornerstone, a fleeting spark igniting. Trust, raw and tentative, born from the simple act of building side by side. The wall grew, solidifying under their hands, the twin suns warming their backs like silent witnesses. They paused under the partial shade of their creation, sharing forest fruit from her pack, tart berries bursting with juice, and his bland rations, the kind that sustained but never satisfied. Evan sat on a log, chewing deliberate, studying her without staring. Lyra eased down careful, hand cradling her swell. "Name's Lyra. Kestrel. Used to crunch data for the cyanites. But I ran. This kid, it's part selenide. Taboo stuff. Purifiers don't take kind to mixes like that." Her tone edged with defiance, blue skin flushing deeper, as if daring the universe to challenge her choice. Evan's fingers stilled on a ration wrapper. Flashes hit him. Evelyn's warm smile in some star-lit outpost, her voice cutting through the chaos, vanished in the Stargate's violent crumple. The old wound throbbed, seeing echoes in Lyra's lone stand, her refusal to yield. "Yeah, I've been there. Losing someone, it changes how you see building things alone." He kept it light, but the weight hung in the air, unspoken layers peeling back just enough. Then a mechanical hum sliced through the tranquility, distant at first, swelling into a menacing drone. Cyanite scouts, their red sensors piercing the foliage like predator eyes, swept low over the trees. Lyra tensed, hand flying to her belly, breath catching. Evan whipped out his bracer scanner, the device beeping urgent as it locked on the incoming threats. Drones armed for purge, protocols humming cold efficiency. He scanned the horizon quick, mind racing through escape vectors. Turning to her, his tone firmed up, eyes softening at the edges. Bunker's 3 clicks east. Solid cover. We gotta move tonight. You in? She met his gaze, blade sheathed but ready, and nodded sharp. They packed in a rush, her tools bundled tight, his supplies slung over. Lyra's eyes snagged on the bracer's engraving again. That E, from her, right? The one who, yeah. Sorry if I'm prying. Eben brushed it off with a half shrug, jaw clenching against the ghosts, but the tightness in his voice gave him away. As the twin sun sank, painting the sky in fiery streaks, long shadows clawed across the ground like omens. Evan shouldered his rifle, the familiar heft grounding him amid the rising tension. Lyra clutched her blade close, scanning the trees with strategist eyes. They melted into the forest, the half-built shelter standing sentinel behind, a testament to fragile beginnings, stones whispering of what might come. The drone hum faded into the distance, but the path ahead thrummed with uncertainty. Verdantia's wilds closing in. The night enveloped them fully now, insect choruses rising in a soothing hum as they pushed toward the bunker. Bioluminescent moss lit their steps in ethereal glows, turning the undergrowth into a starry maze. Lyra's pace faltered, a sharp gasp escaping, early pains gripping her, contractions like distant thunder. She stumbled, and Evan caught her arm swift, his hands steadying with that practiced gentleness. Hey, breathe. I've got you, just a bit further. He guided her on, mind already plotting contingencies, the engineer's calm masking the storm inside. They breached the bunker's hidden entrance as stars dotted the sky, the door sealing behind with a reassuring clank. Inside, the console lit up harsh, scanners blaring alerts. A dozen Purifier units inbound, mechanized death on treads, purge codes active and unyielding. Evan slammed a fist on the panel, pulling up maps. Lyra leaned on the console, fingers dancing over keys despite the waves of pain, decrypting an intercepted burst. Sanitize in 12 hours. Her mind whirred analytical, but the ache blurred edges. Evan traced routes on the holo display. Quartz tunnels below, luminous walls shifting blues and greens, a twisting underground haven. In a Purifier cockpit far off, young pilot Kale gripped controls, hesitation creeping in. The planet sprawled green and vital below. Not some sterile threat. Orders scrolled absolute. Cleanse. But doubt flickered, engines roaring as he followed the grid. Evan jury-rigged a decoy beacon from bunker scraps, wires sparking under deft fingers. It'd draw the heat away, give them a window. Lyra observed, wary but nodding approval, her trust inching forward. By the lamp's flicker, she offered a proverb. Houses, they don't just stand on rock. Choices hold 'em up. Evan dipped his head, Evelyn's memories surfacing soft, her lessons in resilience echoing. A rumble shook the foundations. Scouts closing fast, trail hot. Time evaporated. They plunged into the tunnels, Evan hoisting Lyra's pack, his scarred face aglow in the quartz light. She whispered thanks, their connection deepening in the enveloping dark, steps echoing like promises. 2 whispers in the dark. Verdantia's night pulsed with life, the insect chorus weaving a soft hum as Evan and Lyra trekked through the forest, guided by the faint glow of bioluminescent moss underfoot. The violet trees loomed like silent sentinels, their leaves catching starlight in fleeting glints. Lyra's steps grew uneven, her breath hitching sharp, a sudden contraction seizing her, pain flashing across her pale blue face. She stumbled, one hand clutching her belly, the other grasping at a tree trunk. Evan was at her side in an instant, his engineer's hands steadying her with a gentleness that belied their callous strength. Hey, breathe through it. We're close. His voice was calm, a tether in the dark, but his eyes flicked to the shadows, scanning for threats. Lyra nodded, jaw tight, forcing air through clenched teeth. It's too early, damn it, not now. I can keep going, Evan. Don't baby me. Her defiance cut through the pain, her silver braids swinging as she pushed forward, one hand still gripping his arm for balance. He didn't argue, just adjusted her pack on his shoulder. The weight of her tools nothing compared to the urgency driving him. They reached the bunker as the first stars burned bright, the hidden door grinding open with a low whine. Inside, the air was cool and metallic, the console's red alerts pulsing like a heartbeat gone wild. Evan dropped the pack and slid to the controls, fingers flying over keys. The scanners screamed. A dozen cyanide purifier units, mechanized and relentless, were closing in, their purge protocols active, treads chewing through the forest 3 clicks west. 12 hours tops before they're on us. We can't stay. He glanced at Lyra, who leaned against the wall, her face pale but eyes sharp. She pushed off, clutching the console's edge, and tapped into a signal feed with the precision of a data strategist. Her fingers danced despite the pain, decrypting a purifier burst. Sanitized sector in 12 hours. No exceptions. Her voice shook as she read it aloud, but her mind was a blade slicing through fear. They're not messing around. Orbital cannons are spooling up. We need a way out, Evan. Now. Evan pulled up a holomap, the projection flickering in the dim light. Luminous quartz tunnels snaked beneath Verdantia, their walls pulsing soft blues and greens. A natural labyrinth carved by eons, deep and defensible. These tunnels, they'll get us to the northern outpost. 3 hours, maybe 4 if we hustle. You good for that, Lyra? His tone was steady, but his scarred cheek twitched, betraying the weight of the plan's gamble. She met his gaze, pain etching lines around her silver eyes. I'm not slowing you down. Let's move. Her voice cracked, but the fire in it was unmistakable. Evan nodded, respect flickering in his chest. He rigged a decoy beacon from bunker scraps, wires sparking, circuits humming as he patched it together with the ease of years spent dismantling and rebuilding. It would mislead the drones, scatter their scans for a precious hour. Far off in a Purifier cockpit, young pilot Kale gripped his controls, unease gnawing at his gut. Verdantia sprawled below, vibrant and alive, its violet forests whispering of something worth saving. The order blinked on his screen. Purge all life in the sector. His fingers hovered, hesitating. This doesn't feel right, he muttered to himself, voice lost in the hum of engines. But the command was absolute, and he banked toward the signal, doubt a quiet traitor in his mind. Back in the bunker, Lyra sat by a flickering lamp, her breathing steadying as the contraction passed. She looked at Evan, his silhouette bent over the beacon, and offered a cyanide proverb, her voice soft but deliberate. A house stands not on stone, but on choices. You're choosing to help me, human. Why? Her question hung, not accusing, just searching. Evan paused, fingers stilling on a wire. Memories of Evelyn surfaced. Her laugh, her hand in his, gone in a Stargate's collapse. Guess I know what it's like, to lose something you'd build a world for. And maybe, I just want to see this house stand. His voice was quiet, the words carrying more than he meant to share. Lyra's eyes softened, a silent understanding passing between them. A low rumble shook the bunker. Purifier scouts, their treads grinding closer, sensors slicing through the night. Evan slung the beacon into place and grabbed his rifle. Time's up. Tunnels now. Lyra pushed to her feet, gripping her blade, her face set despite the pain. They descended into the quartz tunnels, the entrance sealing behind with a hiss. The walls glowed, casting their shadows long and wavering, like ghosts leading the way. Evan carried Lyra's pack, his scarred cheek catching the blue-green light. She stumbled again, and he steadied her, their steps sinking in the narrow passage. You don't have to carry everything, you know. I'm tougher than I look. Her voice held a wry edge, almost a challenge. He shot her a half smile, the kind that said he wasn't underestimating her. Yeah, I noticed. But let's not test that too much tonight, all right? The tunnel's glow pulsed like a living thing, reflecting off Lyra's silver braid, which shimmered faintly, a cyanide trait, catching the light like liquid metal. She caught him looking and managed a weak grin. What? Never seen a glowing braid before. Comes with the package. Evan chuckled, the sound easing the tension in his chest. Guess it's handy. Saves on torches. Their banter was light, a fragile bridge over the fear. A distant thud echoed. Scouts probing the bunker above, their trail hot. Evan's bracer pinged, mapping the tunnel's twists. Lyra's hand brushed his arm, a quiet thanks. And their bond tightened in the glowing dark, each step a choice to trust. The quartz walls seemed to hum with Verdantia's pulse, urging them deeper, toward a flicker of hope in the northern outpost, as the Purifier's shadow loomed ever closer. Verdantia's night pulsed with life, the insect chorus weaving a soft hum as Evan and Lyra trekked through the forest, guided by the faint glow of bioluminescent moss underfoot. The violet trees loomed like silent sentinels, their leaves catching starlight in fleeting glints. Lyra's steps grew uneven, her breath hitching sharp, a sudden contraction seizing her, pain flashing across her pale blue face. She stumbled, one hand clutching her belly, the other grasping at a tree trunk. Evan was at her side in an instant, his engineer's hand steadying her with a gentleness that belied their calloused strength. Hey, breathe through it. We're close." His voice was calm, a tether in the dark, but his eyes flicked to the shadows, scanning for threats. Lyra nodded, jaw tight, forcing air through clenched teeth. "It's too early. Damn it, not now. I can keep going, Evan. Don't baby me." Her defiance cut through the pain, her silver braids swinging as she pushed forward, one hand still gripping his arm for balance. He didn't argue, just adjusted her pack on his shoulder, the weight of her tools nothing compared to the urgency driving him. They reached the bunker as the first stars burned bright, the hidden door grinding open with a low whine. Inside, the air was cool and metallic, the console's red alerts pulsing like a heartbeat gone wild. Evan dropped the pack and slid to the controls, fingers flying over keys. The scanners screamed. A dozen cyanite purifier units, mechanized and relentless, were closing in, their purge protocols active, treads chewing through the forest 3 clicks west. 12 hours tops before they're on us. We can't stay. He glanced at Lyra, who leaned against the wall, her face pale but eyes sharp. She pushed off, clutching the console's edge, and tapped into a signal feed with the precision of a data strategist. Her fingers danced despite the pain, decrypting a purifier burst. "Sanitized sector in 12 hours. No exceptions." Her voice shook as she read it aloud, but her mind was a blade slicing through fear. "They're not messing around. Orbital cannons are spooling up. We need a way out, Evan, now." Evan pulled up a hollow map, the projection flickering in the dim light. Luminous quartz tunnels snaked beneath Verdantia, their walls pulsing soft blues and greens, a natural labyrinth carved by eons, deep and defensible. "These tunnels, they'll get us to the northern outpost. 3 hours, maybe 4 if we hustle. You good for that, Lyra?" His tone was steady, but his scarred cheek twitched, betraying the weight of the plan's gamble. She met his gaze, pain etching lines around her silver eyes. "I'm not slowing you down. Let's move." Her voice cracked, but the fire in it was unmistakable. Evan nodded, respect flickering in his chest. He rigged a decoy beacon from bunker scraps, wires sparking, circuits humming as he patched it together with the ease of years spent dismantling and rebuilding. It would mislead the drones, scatter their scans for a precious hour. Far off in a Purifier cockpit, young pilot Kale gripped his controls, unease gnawing at his gut. Verdantia sprawled below, vibrant and alive, its violet forest whispering of something worth saving. The order blinked on his screen. Purge all life in the sector. His fingers hovered, hesitating. This doesn't feel right," he muttered to himself, voice lost in the hum of engines. But the command was absolute, and he banked toward the signal, doubt a quiet traitor in his mind. Back in the bunker, Lyra sat by a flickering lamp, her breathing steadying as the contraction passed. She looked at Evan, his silhouette bent over the beacon, and offered a cyanite proverb, her voice soft but deliberate. "A house stands not on stone, but on choices. You're choosing to help me, human. Why?" Her question hung, not accusing, just searching. Evan paused, fingers stilling on a wire. Memories of Evelyn surfaced, Her laugh, her hand in his, gone in a Stargate's collapse. Guess I know what it's like to lose something you'd build a world for. And maybe, I just want to see this house stand. His voice was quiet, the words carrying more than he meant to share. Lyra's eyes softened, a silent understanding passing between them. A low rumble shook the bunker. Purifier scouts, their treads grinding closer, sensors slicing through the night. Evans slung the beacon into place and grabbed his rifle. Time's up. Tunnels now. Lyra pushed to her feet, gripping her blade, her face set despite the pain. They descended into the quartz tunnels, the entrance sealing behind with a hiss. The walls glowed, casting their shadows long and wavering, like ghosts leading the way. Evan carried Lyra's pack, his scarred cheek catching the blue-green light. She stumbled again, and he steadied her, their steps sinking in the narrow passage. You don't have to carry everything, you know. I'm tougher than I look. Her voice held a wry edge, almost a challenge. He shot her a half smile, the kind that said he wasn't underestimating her. Yeah, I noticed. But let's not test that too much tonight, all right? The tunnel's glow pulsed like a living thing, reflecting off Lyra's silver braid, which shimmered faintly, a cyanite trait catching the light like liquid metal. She caught him looking and managed a weak grin. What, never seen a glowing braid before? Comes with the package. Evan chuckled, the sound easing the tension in his chest. Guess it's handy. Saves on torches. Their banter was light, a fragile bridge over the fear. A distant thud echoed. Scouts probing the bunker above, their trail hot. Evan's bracer pinged, mapping the tunnel's twists. Lyra's hand brushed his arm, a quiet thanks, and their bond tightened in the glowing dark, each step a choice to trust. The quartz walls seemed to hum with Verdantia's pulse, urging them deeper toward a flicker of hope in the northern outpost. As the Purifier's shadow loomed ever closer, the quartz tunnels shimmered, their walls pulsing with blues and greens that danced like liquid starlight, casting Lyra's pained expression in sharp relief. Her contractions came harder now, each one a jolt that forced her to lean into Evan, her silver braid glowing faintly against the cavern's glow. He half-carried her, his boots splashing through shallow streams that sparkled with crystalline flecks, the cold water soaking his pant legs. The air was thick with the scent of wet stone and faint ozone, Verdantia's underground heart beating around them. Just a little further, Lyra. You're doing good. His voice was steady, but his scarred cheek twitched, eyes darting to the tunnel's shadows for signs of pursuit. A distant boom shook the walls, Evan's decoy mines detonating above, scattering the Purifier scout's sensors. He allowed himself a grim smile. Guess that's what passes for a plan. Bought us some time. Lyra managed a weak laugh, her hand gripping his arm tight as another contraction hit. Your plans? They always this loud? Her voice trembled, but the spark in her silver eyes held, defiance cutting through the pain. The tunnel's glow caught her braid, its faint luminescence a cyanite quirk that seemed to pulse with her heartbeat. She caught Evan's glance and forced a grin. What? I'm my own lantern down here. Saves you the trouble, right? He chuckled low, masking the knot in his chest. Yeah, you're a regular beacon. Keep shining, all right? The banter was a lifeline, easing the weight of the dark. A sudden ping from Evan's bracer broke the moment, an encrypted signal guiding them past a narrow choke point where Purifier drones would have ambushed. He frowned, expecting Rowan Blake's rough code, his old squad mate answering the distress call. But the signal's signature was off. Familiar. Before he could trace it, the tunnel flickered, and a hologram shimmered into view. Evelyn, her face soft but ghostly in the quartz light. Keep moving, love. Brace for tomorrow. Her voice was a whisper from the past, cutting Evan's breath short. His knees buckled, but Lyra's grip steadied him, her own pain forgotten for a moment. She gasped through a contraction, eyes flicking to the fading hologram, but didn't press. Evan, you okay? That was someone important, yeah? He nodded stiff, jaw tight, unable to speak. The ghost of Evelyn, His wife, lost in the Stargate collapse, lingered in his mind, her presence impossible yet real. He pushed forward, carrying Lyra's weight, his boots grinding against the quartz floor. Far off, Rowan Blake rallied his militia at the northern outpost, his gray beard bristling as he barked orders to his ragtag crew. "Cross, you bastard, always dragging me into your messes. Get here quick, or I'm billing you for ammo." His voice crackled over the comms, gruff but warm, his team's plasma rifles charged and ready. From their perspective, the outpost buzzed with tension, medics prepping, scanners tracking the Purifier's advance. Every man and woman braced for a fight they didn't fully understand. The tunnel narrowed, the walls pressing close, their glow almost blinding. Purifier drones hummed closer now, their scanners cutting through the quartz like knives. Evan set another mine, wearing it quick, his fingers steady despite the ache in his chest. "Hold on, Lyra. We're almost there." She nodded, her breath ragged, blue skin paling under the strain. The mine's soft beep echoed as it armed, a small defiance against the closing threat. Lyra's voice broke through, weak but fierce. "You're not my kind, Evan. Why do this? Why risk it?" He met her gaze, the tunnel's light reflecting in his eyes. "Because I'm of this house, Lyra, from that first damn brick we laid." His words were simple, but they carried the weight of a vow, tying them to the shelter they'd started together. The tunnel opened into a vast cavern, its walls like stained glass, glowing with shifting colors that bathed them in warmth. Lyra's resolve hardened. She wouldn't let her child be born in fear. She leaned into Evan, her weight heavy but her spirit unyielding. "This kid, it's gotta have a chance. You get that, don't you?" He nodded, his throat tight. "Yeah, I get it." Evelyn's hologram flickered one last time, faint now, her voice a fading echo. "Not the last, just the right one." Evan's eyes stung, but he pushed forward, jaw set, carrying Lyra deeper. The cavern's glow seemed to pulse with their steps, Verdantia's heart urging them on. Above the Purifier's orbital cannons hummed, their threat looming like a storm. But the signal, Evelyn's signal, had given them a path. The cavern's luminous glow bathed Lyra's face, her pale blue skin glistening with sweat as she leaned heavily into Evan, contractions now striking like relentless waves, minutes apart. The quartz walls pulsed with vibrant blues and greens, their light reflecting off the shallow streams that snaked across the floor, casting ripples on the ceiling like a star field trapped underground. Evan's boots splashed through the water, his arms steadying Lyra's trembling frame, her weight a tether to the present. His bracer hummed softly, its hollow display tracking the northern outpost coordinates. 2 clicks left, but the path felt endless. "Almost there, Lyra. Just keep breathing." His voice was a low anchor, but his scarred cheek twitched, eyes scanning the tunnel's twists for danger. A coded burst crackled through his comms, Rowan Blake's gruff voice cutting the silence. "Outposts secure, Cross. Dr. Patel's got a bay ready. Move your ass." Purifiers are spooling cannons up top, so don't dawdle. Evan exhaled sharp, relief tempered by the weight of time slipping away. Above, the Purifier's orbital platforms hummed, their targeting systems locking onto Verdantia's surface, a cold promise of annihilation. In a Purifier command ship, Commander Vey stood rigid, her cyan skin glinting under the sterile lights, eyes like polished steel as she issued orders. "Sanitize the sector. No deviations." Her voice was ice, dismissing young pilot Kyle's hesitation as weakness. From his cockpit, Kyle's hands tightened on the controls, his screen flashing coordinates for the bombardment. "This planet's alive. Why burn it?" His muttered doubt went unheard, drowned by the ship's hum, but his fingers lingered, reluctant to comply. Back in the tunnels, Evelyn's hologram flickered again, weaker now, her form barely holding in the quartz glow. "You're not alone, Evan. Keep going." Her voice was a fading whisper, guiding them around a jagged cave-in, rocks still warm from a recent tremor. Evan's breath caught, grief clawing at his chest. He wanted to speak, to hold her there, but Lyra's sharp gasp pulled him back. Evan, focus. I'm okay, but we gotta move. She's helping us, isn't she? Her silver eyes searched his, seeing the pain he couldn't voice. He nodded, throat tight, and adjusted her arm over his shoulder. Yeah, she's still building with me. The words were soft, a confession to the dark. Lyra's grip tightened, a silent promise to carry this with him. Her voice broke through again, strained but resolute. This child, it's a bridge, Evan, but bridges get burned. I'm scared they'll take it. Her vulnerability hung raw, her strategist's mind wrestling with fear. Evan met her gaze, his voice steady despite the ache. Then we'll build a new one, brick by damn brick. His words were a vow, grounding them both as the tunnel narrowed, forcing him to fully carry her now. Her weight was light against the heaviness of Evelyn's fading presence, the hologram's light dimming with each step. From scraps in his pack, Evan rigged a pulse jammer, wires twisted, circuits sparking under his deft fingers, the engineer's instinct thriving under pressure. The device hummed, disrupting Purifier scans, buying them minutes. His hands shook, not from the work, but from Evelyn's voice echoing in his mind. Lyra watched, her breath ragged. You're pretty good with junk. Ever think of going pro? Her weak jest drew a half smile from him. Yeah, sure, that's gonna work. Stick with me. I'll build you a palace. The sarcasm was warm, a flicker of humor in the dark. A faint warmth brushed Evan's mind. Not Lyra's, but something softer, deeper, radiating from her unborn child. It was a pulse, not thought but feeling, like a hand soothing a wound he hadn't named. Lyra felt it too, her eyes widening. That's her. She's already reaching out. Evan nodded, the sensation anchoring him, urging him forward. Rowan's voice crackled again, urgent now. Hurry, you stubborn bastard. We're holding the line, but it's getting hot. Evan grinned despite the strain, picturing Rowan's grizzled scowl. The outpost was close, its steel doors a promise of safety, but the tunnel's walls trembled. Drones probing above, their scanners slicing closer. Above, Vay's orbital strike locked on, cannons glowing with lethal intent. Evelyn's signal surged one last time, a desperate pulse jamming the command, her digital form fraying at the edges. Keep building, always. Her voice was barely audible, a final gift before she faded entirely. Evan's heart clenched, but Lyra's hand on his arm pulled him forward, her pain and strength a living tether. The tunnel opened to a wider chamber, the quartz walls glowing like a cathedral, their light reflecting off Lyra's braid and Evan's bracer. The outpost was near, its promise pulling them through the dark, but the drone's hum grew louder, a mechanical hymn of destruction. Evan set another mine, its beep a defiant note in the glowing silence. Lyra leaned into him, her voice a whisper. We're gonna make it, right? He met her eyes, his resolve ironclad. Damn right we are. The outpost's steel doors loomed ahead, their surface scarred from old skirmishes, glinting under Verdantia's faint underground glow as Evan carried Lyra through the last stretch of tunnel. Gunfire echoed distant, plasma bursts flashing like far-off lightning, the air thick with the acrid scent of scorched metal and ozone. Evan's boots pounded the quartz floor, Lyra's weight heavy in his arms, her breath coming in sharp gasps. He slammed a fist on the entry panel, the door grinding open with a hydraulic hiss, revealing the chaos inside. Medics rushing, consoles beeping urgent. Dr. Patel, calm amid the storm, prepped a delivery bay, her hands gloved and steady, tools laid out on a sterile tray. Get her in here, quick. Contractions are too close. Her voice cut clear, clinical but warm, eyes flicking to Lyra's pale blue face. Outside, Rowan's militia clashed with Purifier scouts, plasma rifles cracking in rhythmic bursts, the ground shaking from impacts. Rowan Blake, gray-bearded and rugged, barked orders from behind a barricade, his ex-Marine energy fueling the line. Hold 'em back, lads. Feels like old times, minus the beer. Cross owes me for this one, his team fired back, bolts sizzling through the air, holding the perimeter against the mechanized advance. Lyra's cries echoed in the sterile room as Patel guided her onto the bed, monitors beeping in sync with her pain. The doctor worked swift, scanning her belly with a handheld device, its hum low and reassuring. This child's a miracle already. Hybrid vitals are strong, but we need to move fast. Lyra gripped the rails, her silver braid matted with sweat, eyes burning with determination despite the waves crashing through her. Evan stood by her side, his hand enveloping hers, calloused fingers squeezing gentle. Her blue skin paled further, but she locked eyes with him. This is my house now, Evan. We built it. Don't let go. Her voice was fierce, a strategist's edge cutting through the agony. He nodded, his voice steady. I'm right here, brick by brick, remember? The words were a promise, tying back to their first stones. The bunker's glow, a distant memory now. In a Purifier scout unit, Cale gripped his controls, the cockpit shaking from militia fire. His comrades pushed forward, but an inexplicable warmth seeped in, a stirring from Lyra's unborn child, like a pulse of shared life. He saw his team falter, aggression waning. What is this? It feels wrong to fight. His voice was a whisper, doubt blooming as the warmth spread, making the purge orders feel hollow. Evelyn's hologram flickered one last time in Evan's bracer, faint and flickering like a dying star. Keep building, Evan. Don't look back. She overrode the orbital strike with a final surge, jamming the Purifier's systems, her digital form erasing itself in the process. Evan's knees buckled, grief slamming into him like a blast, but Lyra's grip yanked him upright. He whispered to the fading light, "Thank you, Eve, for everything. I'll keep going." Tears mixed with the cavern's glow on his scarred cheek, but he straightened, focus sharpening on Lyra. The outpost trembled, Purifier drones breaching the outer perimeter, their treads grinding rock, lasers slicing close. Rowan's team held, their resolve bolstered by that strange warmth radiating from the delivery bay. Bolts flew, barricades holding just. The militia's rifles humming hot. "Push 'em back! Whatever that glow is, it's on our side," Rowan yelled, his voice carrying over the din, a gruff anchor for his crew. Patel glanced at the monitors, her face set. "It's time. Push, Lyra!" The child's crowning. Lyra bore down, strength defying her pain, her cries mixing with the gunfire outside. Evan stayed close, his voice a steady murmur. "You got this. Breathe. Just breathe. I'm with you." The room pulsed with tension, the hybrid birth unfolding amid the chaos. Outside, the bombardment halted abruptly, Evelyn's sacrifice nullifying the strike. Soldiers on both sides paused, caught in a sudden shared stillness, the warmth spreading, a precursor to the new light about to break. Purifier units stuttered, their protocols glitching, while Rowan's men lowered rifles a fraction, confusion mixing with awe. The battle hung suspended, Verdantia's twin suns peeking through cracks above, their light filtering down like a hesitant dawn. Lyra pushed harder, her body straining, the delivery bay's lights flickering from a near miss outside. Patel's hands moved with precision, guiding the process. "One more. That's it." The air thickened, the warmth intensifying as the child's arrival loomed, a turning point in the storm. Evan squeezed Lyra's hand tighter, his engineer's mind racing through contingencies, but his heart locked on this moment. The outpost held its breath, the line unbroken, as life fought through the fray. Lyra's final push echoed through the delivery bay, her cries mingling with the fading gunfire outside, as Aurora Vale Kestrel entered the world. The infant's lavender skin pulsed with a soft, empathic light, filling the room like a gentle dawn breaking underground. Monitors beeped steady, Patel's hands cradling the newborn, her clinical calm cracking into wonder. The photonic field washed outward, a wave of raw emotion, not force, but shared awe and a deep instinct to protect. Evan felt it first, a warmth blooming in his chest, easing the grief from Evelyn's loss. He stood frozen, eyes wide as the light touched him. The field spread beyond the bay, seeping through the outpost walls like mist. Rowan, outside with his militia, lowered his rifle mid-aim, the plasma hum dying in his grip. What the hell? Why do I feel like crying? This ain't right. His men stood still, weapons dipping, faces softening under the inexplicable pull. The battle's edge dulled, aggression melting into something human. Shared vulnerability, a glimpse of the other side. Purifier soldiers faltered too, their mechanized suits whining as protocols glitched. Kyle dropped his controls entirely, staring at his hands. This is life. Why were we fighting? His voice cracked, the warmth flooding him, making the purge orders feel like distant echoes. Comrades paused, lasers powering down, a collective breath held in the sudden quiet. Evan cradled Aurora next, her silver eyes meeting his, tiny fingers curling around his thumb. The light pulsed gentle, syncing with his heartbeat. Lyra, exhausted but smiling weakly from the bed, reached out. She's our bridge, Evan. Look what we built. Her voice was soft, laced with wonder, blue skin regaining some color. Evan nodded, grief for Evelyn softening under the glow, like shadows retreating at dawn. Yeah, she's perfect. The words caught in his throat, a simple truth carrying layers. The outpost sensors flatlined, the Purifier fleet withdrawing, their systems scrambled by Evelyn's final override and Aurora's resonant field. Alarms silenced, the air humming with a new calm. Patel marveled at her scanner, data scrolling wild. Her field, it's not telepathy, it's empathy, pure and simple. Amplifies what we all feel deep down. She logged the readings, eyes shining with quiet awe, her clinical mask slipping. Rowan burst into the bay, rifle slung over his shoulder, his gruff face breaking into a grin. Kid's got better timing than you, Cross. Whatever that glow is, it just saved our hides. He clapped Evan's shoulder, masking his own emotion with a rough laugh, but the warmth lingered in his eyes. Evan chuckled low, handing Aurora to Lyra. Guess the universe owes us one. The sarcasm was light, affectionate, easing the room's tension. Lyra rested back, her hand on Aurora's tiny form, the infant's light pulsing soft like a heartbeat. She stopped it all, without a word. Her voice held a strategist's analysis, but wonder softened it. Evan sat beside her, the weight of years lifting in the glow of their new family. Outside, the gunfire had ceased entirely, soldiers from both sides standing in uneasy truce, the field's resonance holding them in shared stillness. Patel adjusted a monitor, her movements efficient. Vitals are stable. This photonic thing, it's resonating with everyone nearby. Could change everything. She didn't elaborate, letting the implication hang. A hybrid power bridging divides. Rowan leaned against the wall, rubbing his beard. Well, if the Purifiers are backing off, I'll take it. Beats getting vaporized. His dry humor drew nods, the group's bond tightening in the afterglow. Evan touched Aurora's cheek, her light flickering in response. A quiet dialogue without words. Memories of Evelyn surfaced soft, her digital sacrifice paving this path. You'd have loved this, Eve. He murmured it low for himself, the grief now a gentle ache rather than a storm. Lyra squeezed his hand, understanding without asking. She's part of it, still building. The outpost settled into a hush, the empathic field lingering like a warm blanket. Outside, Verdantia's twin suns rose, their light filtering through cracks, mingling with Aurora's glow in a quiet promise of peace. Militia and defecting Purifiers mingled wary, weapons down, the resonance fostering tentative talks. Kyle approached the doors, helmet off, his face young and changed. That child, she showed us. His words were simple, but they carried the weight of a shifted allegiance. Rowan clapped him on the back, gruff, but welcoming. Yeah, kid. Universe has a weird sense of humor. The group shared quiet laughs, the battle's edge blunted. Lyra cradled Aurora closer, her silver eyes meeting Evan's. This is just the start, isn't it? Our house. It's growing. Evan nodded, his scarred cheek catching the mingled lights. One brick at a time. The words echoed their beginning, a foundation solidified in the glow. Days later, the northern outpost buzzed with quiet purpose, its steel walls still scarred from the battle, but bathed in the soft light of Verdantia's twin suns filtering through the high vents. Ambassador Mara Vale strode into the central chamber, her steel-eyed calm cutting through the lingering tension like a blade through fog. Her elegant frame moved with purpose, boots clicking on the metal floor as she faced cyanite reformists, selenid envoys, and human observers gathered around a holotable. The air hummed with the weight of change, consoles flickering with data from the halted Purifier purge. Evan stood near Lyra, who sat recovering, her blue skin regaining its glow. Aurora cradled in her arms, the infant's faint empathic light pulsing gently. Mara's voice was measured, carrying the weight of a diplomat who'd seen wars end and begin. The evidence is undeniable. The Purifier's purge order was a crime against life. We build something better today. She activated the holotable, displaying Evelyn's hacked data, proof of the orbital strike, nullified by her final act. Gasps rippled through the cyanite reformists, their silver eyes flashing with shame and resolve. From a reformist's perspective, Taryn, a young cyanite diplomat, stood rigid, her pale skin flushed as she grappled with her people's actions. We let fear rule us. This treaty is our atonement. Her voice trembled, but she squared her shoulders, vowing to support Mara's vision. The Selenid envoys, their forms shimmering with faint bioluminescence, nodded slow, their trust hard-won but growing in the room's shared purpose. Mara unveiled the Verdantia Protocol, a treaty granting legal protection to hybrid families, its clauses glowing on the holo display. This ensures no child like Aurora faces persecution. It's a new foundation. Her words carried quiet fire, and the room leaned in, the weight of history settling. Evan stepped forward, his engineer's vest worn but steady, his voice low but clear. This child stopped a war without a word. That's the future we build for. Lyra squeezed his hand, her silver eyes shining with pride. Kyle, the defected Purifier pilot, stood at the room's edge, helmet gone, his young face marked by newfound purpose. I saw her light, felt it. I'll protect this path now. His defection sealed the Purifier faction's collapse, their leaders stripped of power, their purge protocols dismantled under the treaty's weight. The room hummed with agreement, signatures flashing on the holo display as the protocol took shape. Lyra, her strength returning, leaned toward Mara, Aurora asleep in her arms. Laws are stone, Ambassador. Love's the mortar that holds them. Mara nodded, her steel eyes softening. Well said. Let's make it stand. The exchange was brief, but it carried the weight of their shared vision, a bridge between species forged in quiet moments. Evan slipped away later, walking alone to the old bunker, its stone walls half buried in Verdantia's violet earth. He touched the rough surface, fingers tracing where he and Lyra had laid the first bricks. Evelyn's absence ached, but Aurora's light filled his mind, a new foundation rising from the grief. I kept building, Eve. Hope you see it. His voice was a whisper, the words for himself as much as her, carried by the wind. The treaty signing unfolded under violet trees outside the outpost, simple but profound, the twin suns casting long shadows. Aurora's faint glow pulsed as Lyra held her, a living symbol of unity drawing eyes from every delegate. Taryn signed for the Cyanites, her hands steady despite the weight of her people's past. Selenids added their marks, their luminescent fingers tracing patterns of agreement. Humans, led by Mara, finalized the accord, their signatures a promise etched in light. As delegates dispersed, Mara approached Evan and Lyra, her voice warm but firm. You built more than a home here. You built a world. They shared a quiet smile, Aurora's light flickering in rhythm with the sun's glow. Rowan lingered nearby, grumbling about paperwork but clapping Evan's shoulder. Nice work, Cross, but don't think this gets you out of owing me. His grin betrayed his heart, softened by the child's glow. The outpost settled into a new rhythm, medics tending the last wounded, comms buzzing with news of the protocol's spread. Kyle joined the militia, his skills redirected to rebuilding, his doubt replaced by purpose. Lyra rocked Aurora gently, her strategist's mind already mapping a future. It's just the start, isn't it? Evan nodded, his scarred cheek catching the light. Yeah, one brick at a time. Their hands brushed, a quiet vow in the fading sun's light. Months later, Verdantia's twin suns cast a warm glow over the transformed bunker. Now a sprawling stone and wood homestead, where human carpentry intertwined with cyanite bioluminescent vines that pulsed soft light along the walls. The air carried the scent of fresh earth and blooming flowers, the violet forest swaying gentle beyond the garden's edge. Evan worked on the porch, his multi-tool bracer humming as he carved a wooden toy, a small shuttle, edges smooth under his calloused fingers. The engraving E, C, and E caught the sunlight, a quiet reminder. He paused, murmuring low to the breeze. Evelyn, I kept building. Like you wanted. His voice was soft, the words a bridge to the past carried away on the wind. Lyra tended the garden nearby, her strength fully returned. Blue skin vibrant as she knelt among the plants, pruning vines with precise cuts. Aurora toddled close, her lavender skin shimmering, silver eyes wide with curiosity. The infant's empathic light flickered, syncing with the dance of local fireflies that hovered playful around her. Lyra glanced up, smiling. Look at you, little light. Making friends already. Aurora giggled, her tiny hands reaching out, the field pulsing warm and drawing more insects in a swirling orbit. Rowan Blake arrived with his usual gruff stride, boots kicking up dust on the path, a bundle of supplies slung over his shoulder. He grumbled as he approached, but his gray beard hid a grin. Babysitting duty again, Cross? You owe me for this. Kid's got me wrapped around her finger. Aurora waddled over, tugging his beard with chubby fists, her light warming his gruff heart. He chuckled low, scooping her up. All right, you win, Squirt. Uncle Rowan's here. Evan shot him a smirk, handing over the toy. Yeah, sure, tough guy. She's got your number. The sarcasm was light, affectionate, easing into their old camaraderie. As the suns dipped lower, painting the sky in fiery hues, Lyra and Evan settled on the porch, Aurora playing at their feet with the new toy. The homestead hummed with life, vines glowing faint against the stone walls. Lyra leaned against him, watching the sun set. Building's easy, Evan. Keeping it standing, that's harder. Her voice held a strategist's edge, thoughtful in the quiet. Evan nodded, his hand finding hers, their fingers intertwining. Then we build every day, one stone at a time. Their bond was a quiet, living promise, forged in the fires of their journey. From a nearby hill, a Verdantian farmer paused his work, his weathered face turning toward the homestead's glow. He whispered to his child beside him, pointing at the pulsing light. See that? That's what peace looks like. A light in the dark. The child nodded wide-eyed, the scene etching into memory, a symbol of the protocol's ripple across the planet. Aurora's light pulsed gently, drawing fireflies in a playful orbit around her. The homestead feeling alive, vines and stone blending into a beacon under the emerging starlight. The twin suns vanished, leaving a canvas of twinkling points above. Evan and Lyra shared a look, sarcastic, warm, human. Lyra tilted her head, a grin tugging her lips. Guess the universe has a weird sense of humor. Throwing us together like this. Evan chuckled, pulling her closer. Yeah, well, it worked out. They laughed soft, the sound mingling with Aurora's giggles. A family's rhythm in the night. Rowan joined them on the porch, settling into a chair with a sigh, his gruff exterior cracking as he watched Aurora. Kid's gonna change more than just this planet. You two did good. Evan nodded, his scarred cheek catching the vine's glow. The conversation drifted easy, tales of the battle retold with weary humor. The protocols spread, bringing news of alliances forming across systems. Lyra stood later, lifting Aurora, the child's light dimming to a soft hum as sleep claimed her. Time for bed, little one. Evan rose too, his hand on her back, guiding them inside. The homestead's interior blended old bunker tech with new warmth, consoles humming low beside woven rugs, bioluminescent designs tracing the walls like living art. Outside, the farmer and his child headed home, the homestead's glow a distant star on the horizon. Whispers of the protocol echoed in settlements, hybrid families emerging from hiding, protected under the new accord. Rowan bid farewell with a wave, his path lit by the vine's pulse. "Don't get too soft, Cross. Universe ain't done with us yet." Evan grinned. "Wouldn't dream of it." Evan and Lyra lingered in the doorway, Aurora asleep in her crib, the night wrapping around them. Their hands touched again, a silent reaffirmation. The stars wheeled above, Verdantia's heart beating steady beneath. The homestead glowed, its stone walls and bioluminescent vines blending seamless into the night, a home built on choices and love, standing firm against whatever came next.